In the month of June, I made $3,681.46 trading, but that number is probably going to be the high watermark for some time, and I'll explain why in this video. Okay, so in this video, what I want to do is I wanted to dive into the past couple of trades. I want to recap some of those, and then I also want to talk about at the end why things are going to be changing again, but they'll be changing, I think, for like the last time in a sense. And I'll explain all that. I might have to make a separate video, but at the same time, I don't really think I need to, because I already did on my personal channel. This channel I made just for trade recaps. I haven't posted in a while because there hasn't been much to talk about or much to post about until now. So we'll do it now and we'll dive into it. So really quick, this is essentially what we're looking at right now is the month of June. Not a lot of action. You can see we made like all the money essentially on one day, and then like what's happened since, some minor losses, and then the $114 win. Okay, so what happened this month, and what's going on, why, like all that stuff. Essentially, the beginning of the month began, and we had trades on silver or gold. I forget. I never know which one is which. Silver or gold, Bitcoin, and then booking. So we had a lot of swing trades closed out on the same day. And I think at the time, I was up maybe like $6,000, $6,000 or something before the Bitcoin trade closed out, which was a loss. So we finished the day at like 36, which is like pretty good. I think that might be the biggest day of the year. Let's see. It definitely is. I mean, it has to be. Yeah, that was the biggest day of the year that we logged. So that's cool. Looking back. Oh, sorry, you can't see. Looking back at this chart. So yeah, but things are going to be small for some time, and I need to explain why, but I will do so in a minute. Let's just recap the trades first. So nothing crazy. If I jump into the stats for this month, we had those trades. You can go back to the recaps. The more interesting stuff, I guess, was this stuff. So we had trades on AGQ, IBIT, which are like ETFs, leverage ETF on silver, then a Bitcoin ETF. And then we had trades on, that was the close of that, on Caterpillar. Netting out to be, I think, a slight positive in the end. I lost 24 on IBIT. I lost 59, let's call it 60 on AGQ. I lost 14 on CAT, and then I made 114, almost roughly 113.76 on CAT after. So essentially 3 losses in there, 1 winner. The winner outweighed all the losses, which is how I like to manage my risk. And these actually were they were real trades. So let's talk about that. I think the way we can start things off was on the Bitcoin trade. IBIT was Bitcoin. I was really looking at a false breakdown here, and as I look back at this chart, I don't really love much, but what I was kind of messing around with in my head was this area right here. So I saw this Bitcoin breaking down, and I saw it snapping back, it was a mess. It was a mess. This was not a trade that I really look back on. Actually, you know what it was? It wasn't even this. I have to go back on the chart to see the exact time that I got in on this trade. This trade I got in back on, what is this, dude? What am I even looking at right now? I haven't looked at this. Oh, Tuesday the 17th. I'm like, what? Tuesday the 17th. I can go to the executions. So the 16th, I got in. Okay, so let's go to the 16th. Where the hell was the 16th? That would put us right here. Yeah. So the false breakdown that I was looking at really was this move, this wick right here that we snapped back, and I felt pretty good about the move back up. Looking back, dude, this is not a trade. Like I'm trying to find it here, and like I can't even find what I'm looking for. I see it on the 4 hour. So I have to correct that. So here's the move down, snapping back, holding the level. I entered in somewhere in there, and I was looking for that push here, and it just didn't happen. And I'm looking back. This is a bad trade. Just not a good trade. I lost $20, $25. So who cares, right? In the grand scheme, but that was not a good trade. So we marked it as a 4 hour time frame because it was not a 1 day. So we had that. Then we had AGQ, which is off of silver. I can recount this one much better because this one looked better. So if I jump in to a daily time frame, clean. We had essentially, this is my level right here. you can draw the downtrend if you like. I like to play horizontals. So you can draw this, but you had essentially a bull flag. You had this little wick right here. You break that to the upside, I get in, and then we just kind of just false broke and didn't go for more. So that was a simple trade, to be honest. Just didn't work. Simple as that. And then the Caterpillar trade, the first trade was kind of a pussy. Like I pussied out, and then I re-entered. So here's what I got in was actually, I believe, back on this day was my initial entry. I think right here. And then I pussied out. Let's go back and just recount this one correctly. So here's the trade. 23rd. I got in. I also got out on the 23rd. I just didn't like how it closed. So I think it was this day right here. No, sorry, my bad. Oh no, I'm an idiot. It was actually this day. You know why? Because if we were to go back to the 23rd, which is Monday, let's go to a 5-minute chart and show you guys Monday. So if I go back to Monday and show you what I was looking at, that was this. So I got in as Caterpillar's breaking that blue line. That was my breakout point. I was like, okay, I want to see it hold that. And then it didn't. It goes down to make a new low a day under the prior day low. I go, yeah, F that. So I exit the trade saying I'm not holding this one. I don't like what it's looking like. Meanwhile, I exit it, and then after I exit, it starts climbing back and ends up closing above that original breakout point. So if you just wait to the end of the day, I could have avoided that small loss. Either way, we're talking about small money at this point. I was trading on pretty small size, like very, very small size. But I re-entered it the next day, and I re-entered it, and then I got in. Let me see. Actually, I think I re-entered that same day, by the way. So I exit at 12:30. So I get in at 9:50 a.m., exit at 12:30, and I go, and then I'm like, yeah, because I literally exit at the low of the day, pretty much. So I'm like, I don't like what I'm seeing. And then the next trade on Caterpillar I make it back, I enter back on the 23rd at 50. So just at the end of the day, essentially, I enter this thing back in, and then so essentially what I do is I recognize at the end of the day my mistake. I'm like, oh my God, Caterpillar actually looks good. So I get back in, and then we have that nice push to that 385 target, which is kind of like a gap fill zone that I was looking at on the left-hand side. So great look. You can't really, I could have avoided the small loss, but overall I fixed the error, got back in as I should based off how we were going to close, and that's it. And the reason why I could get in, or I can be a little more, I guess, I don't care as much, is because I can play the after hours now, which I couldn't have been doing prior. So this gets into kind of a whole new ball game and the whole new story going forward. So essentially, let's bring it full circle here, guys. There was a situation where the prop firm at the time that I was using a few months back, was kind of playing some games, and I wasn't happy with the games, and they changed the rules. They did this after I purchased accounts, and I was like, I called them out on it, wasn't happy with it. I made a video talking about something like this on my other channel when I was posting all these recaps on my main, like, Thomas Carvo channel at the time. I moved it all here because I thought it would be easier, be cleaner, and I want to post other stuff over there. So that's what I did. And they made it up. They kind of were like, hey, we'll be willing to kind of, fix you up, help you out here. We'll change your account settings, or not settings. We'll give you the accounts that you should have, essentially saying like, don't say anything, and, we'll fix it. Because it was bullshit. And I called them out on a bunch of things that I thought were really just BS. And essentially they fixed that, but the writing at that point was on the wall. And I talked about how I'm done with prop firms, and I kind of came back to them because I thought I was done, but they were not going to refund me. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll use the account while I have it if you guys are going to fix things and make it right and do the right thing. So they don't make those stupid rule changes. They give me the account that the classifications don't have to abide by those horrible, stupid rules that they changed. And I essentially go in and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, I'll just use this. And that's what I was doing. And that was the bigger accounts. Long story short, that prop firm goes under, or essentially no longer exists. And I'm sitting here like, well, we now have to go back to our own funds. And I knew I was going to have to go there, or I wanted to go there. The thought process was this, though. I really wanted to, like, over the past 2.5 years, I have tracked, journaled the strategy. I've got really good data. I've got really, really good data on the strategy. And I was like, okay, it's now time to scale it up. Like, let's go and utilize a prop firm to scale up the strategy, to scale up our, our trading so that we can now make more money faster. Because in my own personal situation, I went into about like $250,000 of debt back in like 2020, 2021 when I graduated college. And so I'm like, I've been paying that down like aggressively over these past couple of years. And as I am making money, I am just paying that off. Like, so my view is I don't want to tie up cash in an account right now if I don't have to, because I'd rather pay down the debt, pay less interest, etc., be done debt free as soon as possible. And we're making great progress on that, don't get me wrong. But that's why I went to the prop firms. Now they're gone. So I'm facing this crossroads of how much do you really trust your trading, to where it's like, how much do you really want to put into it right now versus how much should we pay should we put all of our money that I make extra, like after expenses, insurance expenses, etc., is all that paid? What do I do with the rest? Like, do I put it all on the loan, which I've been doing, or do I put some on the loan, some on the account to build the account up? And so that's the crossroads. So what I've done in the meantime is I've put about $2,500 into a Webull account. It's now worth $2,600, and we can track it over time. I have no problem doing so. And I think I'm going to keep it there for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade it pretty much like I was trading my $10,000 funded prop firm account, which I got a couple payouts. Then the prop firm is now gone. So there goes that, right? So overall, right? Mistakes, not mistake. Like, I don't know what you want to say with the prop firm stuff. Was it a mistake to go a route with a newer firm? Maybe, but they offered things that other firms didn't offer, and so it made sense to me. The thing is, the way I trade them, and based off the rule structure, because of the rules that they have, you have to trade them based off how I trade too, my strategy. I had to trade it in a way that was like seen as pretty conservative to many people, or to most people who trade prop firms. And so I had to trade it conservative. And so I didn't want to play those games where, like, you kind of like pass, you buy two accounts, pass one, lose one, and then change how you trade. So to get funded faster, which you could do. But I didn't do that. And so I was just kind of chipping along piece by piece, step by step. And so based off how I was trading, like, that's what was happening. So now the good news is that I don't have restrictions. I can trade during pre-market. I can trade during after hours. So I won't have to get worried about, huge overnight gap downs, stuff like that if there's big news. So I'll save me money there potentially. It would have saved me some money back in April. Not a lot, a couple $1,000 maybe, in the P&L, which is, notable. But now we're trading with smaller size. So we are going to be utilizing margin when appropriate. So I will, and with Webull, you can get 2x. So if I want to make a trade or take a trade worth $2,000, or I have $2,500, now $2,600, I could technically trade $5,200 worth of buying power roughly overnight on a swing trade. And I swing trade pretty much primarily. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Thoughts about potentially making a futures account there, sure. But with all the 24-hour ETFs and stuff that they got going on, I don't really know if I need to do that, to be honest. So I probably won't for now, but I might to make it cleaner in the future. We'll see. Might use a different platform for futures, all that great stuff. It's not a big deal. I can figure that out down the road. And so that's kind of the situation. I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'm okay with where I'm at now. Just that the sizing is going to be smaller. So what I'll do is I'll kind of fall back on my 10K funded account, like, rules, where I was like, okay, I don't want to lose more than $100 on a loss, and I want to make, 150 plus roughly on winners. And so I'll see if I can find myself into that ballpark. We'll kind of roll with that for the next couple of weeks, see how that goes when trades present, and hopefully kind of slowly but surely scale it up. My thoughts and plans, I've got some taxes I got to still pay from last year and some estimated taxes to pay. So once that's all taken care of, I'm going to kind of likely establish kind of like okay, if I have, let's say $1,000 here left over, and I can say, okay, what do I want to do with this $1,000? I can put that extra on my loans, or I can put that on my trading account. What I'll do is maybe do $750 on the loans, $250 in the trading account, just to build that guy up. Because again, as I put $250 in, for example, you're going to get double that in buying power because of margin. So now that could move fast in terms of like your buying power. So don't get me wrong, if you are a profitable trader, as I've been the past like 2.5 years, you're going to make money on trades. So you're also going to move the needle that way. So the buying power can go up pretty quick to the point where now we're playing with like decent money, right? I would say that we're not going to get back to the thousands on trade sizes for a while, but that's kind of where we're at. So, long story short, we're probably not going to see P&Ls of this amount for a while. However, hopefully soon, and we're working on it. But the good news is no rules. It's all my funds, all my money. So whatever I make is all mine. And that's what I wanted to do anyway. That was the vision. That was the longer term vision. That was the goal anyway. So we're there now, and we can build up from ground zero. At the same time, it's like I'm feeling like I'm getting to a much better spot in terms of that loan thing over there, that student loan, that big nut that's been hanging over me. Dude, based off of current projections, we don't got too much longer on that. So I'm excited for life after it, because life after it is now going to have me like used to just tossing thousands of dollars a month on this thing. And now me after is going to be like, oh, now I have thousands of dollars a month that I could either invest, put in my trading account, or do stuff with. Crazy, right? So if you're watching, I appreciate you. Also, second piece, I might not be able to, this channel is new. I don't know if I'll ever be able to monetize this channel, because I had a ton of videos on my the channel where I was uploading my trade recaps, my Thomas Carvo channel. That channel got demonetized because they flagged a lot of these trade recaps as misleading. Let me tell you, like, I'm actually very curious. If you're still watching this, I appreciate you, because you've come from either you found this new, which is interesting, or you've come from there, which is also really cool. But they flagged a lot of those videos and live streams that I did in the past, just a lot like live market streams. Like we just pull up the market and like watch it at the end of the day. And like I got flagged as like misleading content, scam/misleading content. And I'm like, going back and forth to YouTube, no answers. They're not telling me really, like they're not giving me specifics. And just demonetize it. I'm like, it was not making a ton of money, but that's very interesting. And I'm just concerned that, concerned that will probably limit the reach of these videos. I don't know. But what gets me, what tickles my taint, is you go on YouTube, right? And you type in trading, how to trade options, how to do this, how to do that. And dude, you'll find how to make $1,000 a day trading fucking covered calls, or how to trade. And people are making claims. You could say that those are misleading, because how do you guarantee that somebody's going to do that and replicate that? You can't. So I can see the misleading side of that. People are also not showing they're faking trades. Like there are people who are monetized on the platforms who have been proven frauds, proven to fake trades, but they're monetized and they're making a lot of money from their videos. I never really was. So like I never was. I shouldn't say really. I never was. I was making a couple cents here and there essentially from the videos. Literally. And the guy, for example, no, I could be faking things too and lying. I could. The guy who's making videos saying how much he made or lost, and if you go back and check all of those videos, now some of them got taken down. I can't do anything about that anymore. If you go back and check all those videos, you can see like he's not making a outrageous claims, and B, he's not making a lot of money. Yeah, he's profitable. He's not making a lot of money. The guy showing, this is what gets me. It's like the guy showing the realistic journey, the realistic process, how like it actually is, and how like, you know, razor thin some of these margins can be. I think for the majority of people who ever even get profitable. So like there's most never do. You get profitable. Once you're profitable, there's like most people will never make insane amounts of money. Maybe there's a very few that will. So like you're talking about like the top of the top that are actually making nutty numbers. Very few and far between. So it's much more of like a realistic showing of what someone who's dealing with profitable trading like actually is like. Yet that gets demonetized. That gets labeled as misleading. That gets labeled as spam. But the other stuff that's literally telling you, you could make this much per day, I'm going to show you how, like that doesn't. It's crazy. Like someone is going in and doing a trade recap, talking about their experience, what they did. If I lose, I made the video. It's not like I only made winning videos. If I lost, I made it. I made the videos through the drawdowns. I made them through the winning streaks. I made them when I felt like I couldn't win a fucking anything. It's just interesting. Very interesting. But if you're still here, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching. I'll leave a link to TradeZilla, where we track everything down below. Code TC10 will save you 10, 20%. I don't even know anymore. Probably 10%. But thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.